All right, Eric, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for chiming in. I appreciate it. You know the deal, Eric. Give people a few minutes here to get into the old chat, and we'll get her going. Yeah, I was doing some testing last week. Y'all caught me. I slipped up and accidentally left it on public instead of making it uh, unlisted, so you guys couldn't see it. So yeah, I had to redo it. Jeremy, what's up, buddy? Hey, what's up, one bad plum? What's going on? Yeah, not a whole lot of news on this front. So we'll wait, give folks, like I said, another minute or two, and then we'll do what we do. I will not be at Roadkill Nights this weekend. I'm still in Maryland, unfortunately. I would love to make a Roadkill Nights one of these years, but not this year. All right, it's 9 o'clock. Let's just get started. So, same news as last. Well, some news this week. The pumps did make it to 4 officially. They made it. Then I emailed them on Monday and they said they were going to check everything, look at everything, and they were going to get, and they emailed me, yeah, yesterday. No, they emailed me back Monday saying that they're going to look things over, check things out, see what they need to do to make everything. I wanted to make it more plug and play. There were a lot of spliced wires and stuff in the pump and stuff, so I wanted to clean all that stuff up, make it all with their pigtails, and just make everything plug in and make it much easier than having to go back, resplice everything, and put it all back together. So they're looking at it, checking it out. They were supposed to get back to me yesterday. I'm going to give them, I gave them today. I'll email them tomorrow. And they still said it was 2 to 3 weeks for the triple pump upgrade. So we're still probably, I'm just me guessing, another 3 to 4 weeks before we get to the track, which is a long time. I am pacing the floors, wanting to get back to the track, get the car back on the track. Let's run these numbers so we can prove what we can do, what Shake and Bake can do, and then we'll dial it back and have fun for the rest of the season, and we'll kind of decide what we're going to do for next year. But all right, just back from the car show tonight. Awesome, Chris. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you chiming in. I really do. Tim, finally got my diff fluid changed out. No more groaning. Yeah, it is. Especially if you have the DURS brace on there. It's a bit of a pain to drain that diff fluid and get it back in there. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. And that's one of them things. You got to do those diff changes because that oil takes some abuse back there. Jeremy, been working on a big project at the job. New tech at job. Nice. New technology. Awesome, Jeremy. That's cool. Good deal. Tim is good enough for the record. All right, I'll remember that. Triple pumps for the win. Had to go triple pumps. Now it's just a waiting game. Really just sitting back and waiting. Jay, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, we're definitely gonna have much cooler weather than what it's been the past 2 weeks. I mean, this 90 degrees weather with 80-90% humidity has just been crazy. Been crazy. So definitely have way much better weather come beginning of September, beginning to probably mid-September. But yeah, definitely better weather. All right, everyone's going back and forth saying hi to everybody. I really do appreciate. I know I say this all the time, but I really do appreciate everyone, watching the videos, especially these kind of filler videos that I do to keep the channel moving, keep things, try and keep things fresh. I try and stay away from the news stuff, but I thought the pricing for the charger, would be a good one. Which we could talk about the pricing and stuff like that if you want to, just to keep the chat going, because I really don't have anything more on Shake and Bake. I definitely want to make the Modern Street Hemi Shootout in October. That's definitely one I do want to make. Tim said high 60s, man. I wish it did stay a little cooler today, but it was still super humid. I mean, it even rained and it stayed humid. It's just been crazy. All right, Jay's going to talk about Frankenstein soon. Dragon 66, it'll be good seeing Shake and Bake and get some cool air to breathe. Yeah, she'll definitely be happy with some cool air to breathe too. That's for sure. No doubt about it. So, let's just talk about the pricing of the two chargers real quick. And you heard it in everybody's video. It's the prices are ridiculous. 60,000 for the RT, almost 80,000 for the Scat Pack, and it's just not the juice is not worth the squeeze. The your buying power just ain't there for those cars when you can buy a Model 3 Performance and outperform both those cars for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 less. It's just it's crazy. And really, for $80,000, you can get a base Plaid and just rip both of those cars apart with a Model S Plaid. Yeah, nobody buying that. That's for sure. There definitely ain't nobody gonna wind up buying those cars. I mean, I know they tried to throw you a bone with the stage 1, stage 2 kit, whatever they call it, to up the horsepower for the this first iteration in 24, but it's just not worth it. Not only Tesla. Here's something I should have put in the video, but I didn't. Hyundai Ioniq 5Ns are just as fast, if not faster, and they're like 60 some K, I think. A Hyundai. You can't even outrun a Hyundai. Now, don't get me wrong, Hyundai's come a long way in the last few years. In the last probably decade or so. They came a long way with their cars. They're doing better, getting better. But, that they're always going to be the butt of jokes when it comes to muscle cars. But yeah, BMWs, everything out there has got more range, better 0 to 60, faster quarter mile. And some of those manufacturers have deals with Tesla, so you have the infrastructure as well. So I saw on Mopar Insiders today that if you don't buy the home install kit to charge your car, there's a company that's going to give you free charging for a year or something like that. I can't remember what it was. It was just ridiculous. Those third-party chargers are, from everything I've seen and everything I've heard, I have no experience. I have no facts, but everything I've seen, everything I've read, those third-party chargers 90% of the time don't work, and the 10% that do work are terrible. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. I just wanted something to talk about for a few minutes to hopefully get the chat going back into muscle cars, so we can talk about muscle cars. But Chris, yeah, I saw some pictures of the car show that you were at. There's some nice vehicles out there. There's some pretty vehicles out there, that's for sure. Yeah, and they're even way. Yeah. So back to it. Now I'm back to the chat. So I'm about 30 seconds behind all of y'all. But yeah, you can buy a used Hellcat for that kind of money, even cheaper. BMWs, yep. For 80K, I can get my RT to beat Shake Me. You probably could. For 80K, yeah. If you dump 80K into an RT or a Scat Pack, you'll have a monster, no doubt about it. BMWs will roll the Hurricane platform. I'm waiting to see some real bona fide numbers when it comes to the Hurricane. I know they're having problems in the Grand Wagoneers and stuff. They're having issues with the Hurricanes, but I want to see what actually comes out when they put them in the Charger and see what they come out with. Chris, the Scat Pack gas models cost the same or more. Yeah, some of them, but these ones that have been sitting on the lot for a long time, they're starting to come off those prices, as crazy as it is. Hyundai, my launcher gets up. Yeah, buddy. Tesla has a charging game on lockdown. Yep, absolutely. Timothy, 8K turbo 400, built 392, boosted for 15K, tubular front half for 2K or less. If you're handy, and 10K to suspension, wheels, and tires. Boom! You're rolling. Tim's got the setup right there. Gino, what's up, buddy? I ain't seen you in a minute, boy. You've been hiding. One guy drove from Texas in his Airflow. That's awesome. And that's what the hot girlfriend and I want to do once I do finally call it quits, is we're just going to grab an RV and just travel all over the country. Maybe run up into your area there, Chris, go up into Canada a few spots and just travel, just drive around. 80K will take anything a long way. Yepper. Send it to Jay. He'll build a shake and bake for 40K. You probably could, pretty close to that. How many 6.4 could you buy for 80K? He'd have them stacked up in his garage. Gino, Mustang GT 500 tune, pulley ported manifold. Yeah, the Mustangs are no joke. They really aren't. Jay, don't get me thinking. Don't get me thinking. See, Hurricane Charger is only cool if you get a downpipe cooling and traction with an exhaust, and then you're still not be a muscle car. Big chillin'. Dodge just set themselves back 15 years. That's an interesting point that you bring up there, Big Chillin'. You know, the rumor has it, and this is TK and OC Motivator and Butter the Insider having some inside information. Now, whether that's truthful or a rumor or what have you, but you know, these guys from BYD from China are all up in Detroit's knickers right now, looking at Chrysler, looking at Dodge, looking at not only the headquarters but looking at factories and that as well. So really, here's just my flat out opinion on what's going to happen with these brands, and I'll just leave it at that. I think personally, all four of those brands are going to go. I don't think Stellantis is going to keep one American brand. I think they're going to sell all four. They're going to keep them together, CDJR, and they're going to sell them to BYD in China. That's just my thoughts. Because if I was BYD, don't give me just 2 or 3. Give me all 4. That's just my simplistic view of the world. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Gino's going back to Jay. That's probably the number, Jay. Yep. Traveling sounds good to about 10 hours into the trip. But see, that's what's nice about doing it either in a RV or a camper. Hey, you can find somewhere just to pull over and hang out, relax, do what you need to do, and get back on the road. Gino, really miss my scat sometimes. Yeah, buddy. But that Mustang you got's a beast, though. People bought Mopar from 72 plus. There are outs. There are, but that's just my opinion. BYD is going to buy all 4 of them, and they may still be built in America. My thoughts is they're probably going to go to Mexico because they're all over South America. They're almost all over in Europe, so they're trying to get into the European market as well. So, yeah, BYD is, I didn't even hear of them until TK Garage started talking about it, and then I looked around a little bit. They are a big player in the car market worldwide. But yeah, that's just my opinion. That's where I see it going, but I could be totally wrong and out 180 degrees. But there's no doubt in my mind Stellantis is going to sell all of their American brands. That's happening. I'd almost bet a paycheck. That's happening. It's just who they sell it to. They're starting to produce the i6 models here at the plant. Yeah, I mean they could go to Canada as well. I don't know. I don't know. But you know the deal. Once China gets a hold of these 4, hardcore American brands, who knows what's going to happen. Yeah, they won't. And then so there is some political ball game here too, right? If they buy them, where they make them, what happens depending on who gets in office and what stance they're going to take on China, if they're going to add tariffs and all of that stuff. So a whole bunch of political ball game in there too. Don't get me wrong. That's all part of it as well. But yeah, it doesn't look good at all. Toyotas, Nissan, Subaru, Honda are American-made cars. They do have a number of plants here in America. Yeah, well, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what actually does happen, if what I think actually happens, and if they stay building them in America, we'll see. Big Chillin' should have just tried turbos before they went out like a sucker. Yeah. Randy, hey, y'all, on airplane, no audio or video, but see the chat. Did my first 8th mile. Me and my RT are hooked. Yeah, it is. It is. You know, I was like most people. You know, all right, going fast in a straight line. Okay, until you do it, and you get the thrill of, you know, the light, the ambience, the surroundings, and you take everything in, and the noises and the tires and the burnouts and just everything that's going on when you're there at the track. It's a good time, no doubt about it. I get it was the same when Budweiser was bought up. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting tough to we just got so far away from being an industrialized nation and became a more service oriented nation where we outsource everything instead of building stuff here in America, like we did back in the industrial age when we were a no kidding powerhouse at that time. Now, you know, we're mixed up with the world economy, and I think I'm not saying we go to the Monroe Doctrine and totally close off all the borders and just think about ourselves, but I think we need to look inside internally and fix what's wrong with America and stop dishing out so much money outside. You know, the world looks to us to be their problem solvers, and we just can't do it anymore until we get back right where we were in the old days. That's just my 2 cents. Dragon, you ever see yourself dialing back shake and bake back to shaker status, or you think it will end up tubbed out with a cage? No. So right now my plan is, and this is looking down the road as well. So I'm looking at the next 2, 3, maybe 4 years, give or take. Maybe actually calling it quits. So probably for now, well, definitely for now, Shake and Bake is going to stay where she's at. She's going to stay with the D1X. We're going to run what we run. The plan is to run a couple 8s. Once we run those couple 8s, dial the car back to a 9, a 9.0, a 9.0 and a 9.5. I want to have 2 tunes, a 9.0 and a 9.5 tune. So depending on which index is at whatever race I'm going to, I can run a 9.0 class or I can run a 9.5 class. So we are going to dial it back some for the rest of this year. Next year, we'll just have to see how things are going, how things are holding up. As long as we're not busting a lot of things by the end of this year and we got some time to sit back, really think about where I want to go with Shake and Bake next year. Do we want to make her a full race car, or do we want to keep her pretty much where she's at and just run it the way she is, and see how reliable she is where she's at? I think that's going to be the plan, at least for now. Because right now I'm not in the position. I was looking at possibly trying to get a pickup truck, but I'm not in a position where I can do that yet. And I won't be probably for another year or so. So Shake and Bake still has to be kind of my daily. I got to make sure I can keep it not only insured, but licensed as well. So yeah, I don't. So there are possibilities of going back to the shaker, depending on what we do with the lid and the tick intercooler. So there's some slight possibilities that the shaker may come back, but we'll have to see. We're going to have to see how that goes. Big chillin', man. It's out of our control. What's up with that beast of yours? It is out of our control. Yep. I think he's already there. Yeah, for sure. Hard Rock, what's up, buddy? Thanks for chiming in. Tim, my pops and grandpa were millwright and machinists at a glass mold shop. Their industry disappeared for plastic. Yeah, we just did not do a good job of keeping up with the technology and keeping us relevant when it comes to building our own stuff. That's my opinion. Eric, for sure, agree 100,000%. 60. All right, Z. Dodge is dead. I don't know if it's dead, but it may be speaking a different language. Praise only. Race car when you tire, possibly, or we just leave it where it's at, depending on if we do go back to our cabin in Tennessee and build us a new cabin there in Tennessee, and I register the car in Tennessee, it'll be much easier because there is no emissions in Tennessee, at least in Carter County. So I wouldn't have to worry about emissions. I would just have to worry about, registering it every year. But Strace car for life. It is definitely going to be, at a minimum, a Strace car for sure. You'll never go back to shaker unless you go snails. Yeah. Now, if we did go snails, we could go back to shaker for sure. 3 pedals, 2 snails, 1 finger. Oh man, that's funny. Too many. That's funny. I want to see the shaker back at some point on Shake and Bake. Yeah, my wife was kind of upset that I did away with the shaker and put the hood on there that I got on there now, but there's possibilities of getting the shaker back. I feel like it's just cheaper to outsource. Why pay $15 an hour when you can pay 75 cents an hour to foreign folks? I think that's what got us into trouble. I think that's what got us into trouble. But good point, Jay. Good point. Big chillin', nothing like a race car daily for sure. True, Jay. That's how the American business works. That is true. Outsource everything. Yeah, too many Mopars. That was a good one. Oh, excuse me. Randy, enjoy the flight. I still have to make mine to the track one day. Yeah, buddy. People don't want to pay higher prices for stuff made in the USA. That's true too. that I get it. I get what y'all saying, but I am just saying, we need to look internally at ourselves and just get America right. I just don't think we're right, and I don't think we're gonna be right, no matter who's in office. Even if out of the blue some perfect candidate shows up, it's going to take several presidents to fix everything, in my opinion. But all right, thanks, Jay. For the nitrous button. I got you too many. I got you. I got the one button reference there. Now we're not above throwing a little juicy juice in shake and bake too, so that's still on the table. That's still a possibility. Everything is still hooked up. It's just not plumbed into in to be used yet. And all that is a hole in the intake tube, and freaking stuff it in there and screw it down. So it's like 5 minutes away from being completely done. Ain't nobody got waiting on. That's true, Jay. That's true. Definitely going to take American time to get back. Yep. No matter who's in office, doesn't matter. Corporate greed, absolutely. A lot of people will say capitalism at its finest. Yeah, it is. What does a rich man want? More money. For whatever reason. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Randy going to Alaska cruise for a week. Nice. That's awesome. Tim, the system is hurting us way more than any presidential candidate. That is also true. I hope we decide to buy out CDJR stock and make my beloved brand American again. Unless something drastic happens, it's not going to be American anytime soon. Quit whining. Go out back if you gotta go out. Okay. Sorry, Bean's over here whining at me. Juice to get off the line, like Max said, is a great idea. Yep, it is. We're gonna see what the stall does for us, the torque converter does for us first, and then if that doesn't quite get us where we want to be, we'll throw a little juicy juice up in there, and we'll get to where we want to go. Big chillin', too much money involved. Closing the borders will never happen. Just to me, need to be stricter. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of what I was getting at. I'm not saying, like I said, let's not Monroe Doctrine, right? Like close the borders and just allow nobody in. Obviously, we can't do that. But I'm with you. We can be more stricter. The process can be more streamlined. And there's other things we can do to fix that problem. But we really do need to start looking internal at ourselves and start fixing what's wrong with us. Packers movement to buy Mopar. I mean, I'm with you, Tim. I'm with you. If I had the money to buy CDJR, I would go ahead and do it. But I don't. Obviously, I don't have that kind of money. Jay, I oftentimes hope that I could hit the lottery for big money. I'd love to buy it and run with it. Now, all right. Somewhat to those CEOs' defense, there's a lot that goes into running a business that some of us don't know about, right? There's always more to the story that we don't have the whole story. So, Jay, if I did it, I'd buy him and turn it over to Tim Kaniskis and let him run it. Let him run it. Me to Jay. You got to play to win. That is true. That's right. Mac Nova, what all did you have to change out to make the 5.7 Pro Charger kit work with the 6.4 intake manifold? So the only thing that's different is the plenum. So the plenum that comes out where the radiator is and comes into the engine bay, and then how it connects to the intake, the cold air intake. That's the only difference is the plenum. And you can get the plenum from Pro Charger. I don't know how much they are. My guess it's probably pretty steep. $200-$300, I'm guessing. I know someone had that same problem. Gosh, maybe a couple years ago. Asked me about it, and like I said, you can get them from Pro Charger, but they're going to be a couple hundred. The plenum alone is a couple $100. So what you have to do, I'm probably a day late and dollar short, but when you ordered the Pro Charger, the 5.7 Pro Charger kit, you needed to let Pro Charger know you had a 6.4 intake manifold, and they would have sent you the right pieces in the kit to make that happen. unless you bought it aftermarket. If you bought it aftermarket, then you're just got to suck it up and either find a 6.4 plenum on like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something like that on one of the parts site, or you're just gonna have to go to Charger and a Pro Charger and buy the plenum. Jay and Eric are going back and forth. I have a problem spending on 6.4s. You do, Jay. Dragon, when I get a cam headers on my 5.7 Challenger, what point would I need to upgrade my clutch since I love gear jamming? Dragon, I'm going to leave that up to Jay. Hopefully Jay's probably already answered the question, but I'm going to push that over to Jay. He's the 3-pedal guy. So Jay says I need 2 more minimum, then I think I'll be good. I got you, Jay. So Jay's going back to Dragon. What's your end goal? Eric, you're no help, fam. You have to believe me. I'm good with 6 of them. For sure. Tim, let mistakes made by others and foresight dictate your build. That's true. 100% for sure. And that's, I say this all the time. That's kind of why I really started doing the channel, is people don't make the same mistakes I make and waste a bunch of money that I wasted doing things several times over. So yeah, YouTube is a great resource. I would, if I knowing what I know now, I would have started with YouTube, really done some serious research into everything before I did anything. So I just jumped into this thing head first and was just following a couple different people and piecing things together. And it just, yeah, it got me into trouble. It kept the car moving, but not thinking and having a plan and looking forward. I spent money several times that I didn't need to. And Gold J, I can see your vision. 6.4 swap the world. I hear you, Eric. Tim, me first. Jay's fleet. Yep. And backup. So you always got to have a backup. Dragon going back through just NA right now, maybe up to 500 wheel. Dragon, I'm going to let Jay answer that question because I don't want to point you in the wrong direction, because I don't know. I don't know. And I've said this 1,000 times too. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know, and I'll at least point you to someone that if they don't have the answer, I know they can point you in the right direction to someone that can get you the answer. But most of the time, either Jay, Body Mike, Mac, a number of people in here, Tim, Eric, there's all kinds of people that have plenty of experience with modifying these cars and can get you the answer that you're looking for. Big Chillin', what's your end goal? Because you keep moving the goalpost. I do keep moving the goalpost, and I said that in my video, right? Goal, plan, budget, right? Those are the 3 biggies you got to have, and you can kick the goalpost down the field. You can continue to do that. You just have to have the forethought to make sure you're buying things that are heading towards that moving goalpost. So the end goal, I'm not really sure there is an end goal per se, but the goal for the rest of this year and probably next year is to run a couple 8s, dial it back so I don't have to have a cage and a chute. Yes, I'm skirting safety. I don't want to have to cage it. I don't want to have to put a chute on it because I'm still going to have to daily drive it. Run those couple 8s just to say we can. Dial it back to a 9.0, 9.5, 2 different tunes, a 9.0 and a 9.5 tune. And depending on, like I said earlier, depending on what race I go to and what the indexes are, I can run a 9.0 class or I can run a 9.5 class. Typically, that's most of the classes. Either they go an entire second from like 10.0 to 9.0, or they do half a second, like a 10-5, 10, 9-5, 9. So having a 9 tune and a 9-5 tune, that can get me into the right race, into the right index. Because slowing down to 10 would just be ridiculous, having to slow all the way down to 10 when I know the car can run a 9. So that is the current goal. And that will probably go through sometime next year. Oh man, how much horsepower was your 70 transmission able to handle? So when it comes to transmission, it's not so much horsepower as it is torque. So you look more at torque when you talk about transmissions. I know some of the builders out there talk about horsepower and how much horsepower they hold, but they also tell you how much torque they hold. So mine started slipping when we got into that 650, 660 pound-feet of torque, which translates into the 900, 850, somewhere around in there, 750, 850 horsepower, somewhere right in around there. If you force me to put a horsepower number on it, but really it's the torque number. Hellcat clutch will be plenty for that. There you go. Horsepower can be addictive. It is addictive, 100%. So Tim's going to Jay for a synchro cost. RN stock clutch. So Jay's going back to Dragon. Jay's going back to Tim. It is Dragon. It's a hard addiction to kick. Once you get some, you always want more. You always want more. Eric, go run as fast as the wallet allows. That is true. That is true. Jay's going back to Tim for synchros again. So Tim's going to do the synchros at the same time. My wife literally just said, we know nothing about automotive modification. There is no end goal. That is so true. That is so true. But I do keep kicking the goalpost down the road. Dragon, I'll have to bookmark the gearbox for future reference. Thanks, Jay. All right. Jay, no lies detected by her. Yep. And Tim, she is a smart woman. There's no doubt about it. Jay's wife's awesome. She's awesome. And his kids are awesome too. Man, his kids are great. She's probably onto something, Jay. 200 club hat at Bonneville is my end goal. Man, that would be cool. Run at Bonneville and just let her rip. Dragon, if you need further advice, hit me up on IG. There you go. Timothy, end. All right. Yeah, that would be fun, Tim. I would love to go to Bonneville and just let the car rip and see what happens. Nag 1 holding a 700 foot-pounds with just a valve body. Yeah. I lost my chat. I think Old Dragon asked about the HP 70. But all right. Yeah, for some reason this thing's acting funky. I don't know what's going on. She helps me finance the craziness. For sure. I feel like a cage and safety equipment isn't a bad. It's not. It's just it increases the danger as a daily driver when you have a cage. So now, in place of, for the most part, in place of those side airbags, you now have a metal pole right? You have a metal cage going through there, and you get thrown around in the car. Your head bounces off metal, not off airbags anymore. So I get it. I get the safety side of having a cage and a parachute. But like I said, the cage does become the possibility of an issue if you get in an accident when you're daily driving your car. You could end up really hurting yourself worse by having a cage with a daily driver than you would with the airbags. So, yeah, folks, hit that like button. We need a lot of likes. We need a lot of likes. Yep, that's true, Jay. Those are the new rules: 90 or 150 miles an hour. Now it's going to be close for me to run a 90 and stay under 150 miles an hour. So that'll be interesting once we get to that point and try and figure that out. But we'll see. Oh man, got a good deal on a supercharger off eBay that I bought by accident. My wife laughed when I said by accident. I buy everything on accident. By accident, I actually worked. I get what you did. You buy now that you already had. Yep. Nice one. I may use the by accident thing. Yeah. Drunken eBay is the way. There you go. Yeah. Stay away from the computer when you're drunk. Nag ones are a bit more forgiving than the HP 70s and 90s. That is true. Old man got a Hellcat supercharger off a 23 TRX with very low miles. Nice. Nice. Eric, bonding and debating, sir. Your wallet will thank you. Don, just get the removal sidebars. That is true. We could do that. We definitely could do that. So there are things we can do with a cage, but we'll see. We'll see. The problem with getting into the 8s, then you're in really in with the big boys, right? And they're running 7s and low 8s. So yeah, I don't know if I want to get into the 8s game because then it's already super expensive. Then it's even more expensive. Tim almost bought some white seats and door panels for too much last week. Yep. David, I'm getting a Diablo for Chalet RT and won't be getting a custom tune right away. Who makes the best can tune for full bolt-ons I can use in the meantime? I would just use the Diablo ones that come with it. I mean, you're not going to get much out of a can tune anyway. All they're really going to do is tune you for 93 if you have 93 octane in your area, or they'll tune it for 91. But you're really not you're going to get a handful out of a can tune. You're not going to get that much. So to be honest, I'm not sure if you're buying the Diablo aftermarket or if you're buying it straight from Holly. But if you are buying the Diablo from Holly, I would just wait and do it all at once. Get your PCM unlocked and the Diablo at the same time. And it depends what year your car is too. So if you're 2014 or newer, you're gonna have to get it unlocked. If you're 2013 and earlier, you're good to go. You can just go ahead and tune it. But yeah, David, depending on what year your car is, you're not gonna get you're not gonna feel anything from a can tune. Wife is the best. Yeah, my wife is the best as well. She's been awesome through this whole thing. Chris, 11.5 at 135 for my 07, unfortunately. Yeah, Chris, but you're getting there, buddy. I know you're working it. White seats look sick, but sure bet they get dirty easily, no doubt about it. Dragon, I'm afraid to buy a Hellcat supercharger off eBay with the number of people I've heard needing to replace their blowers and Hellcats. Yeah. Yeah. I know it's cool to have a Hellcat supercharger, but you could do yourself way more justice with a Whipple or a Magnuson. Actually, Magnuson, because Whipples are having a lot of problems too. You go with a Magnuson 2650 and you're set. I mean, personally, that's the route I would go. I would probably go, because Whipple is having such issues, go with a Magnuson. Unless you're trying to go like that super fast guy, you want to be in the 8s or the 7s, right? And you can go the Whipple and all the other stuff that goes with it. But if you're just kind of daily driving, I would just go ahead and get a Magnuson, because there's so much goes into that Hellcat supercharger. I'm not sure what you're putting it on, be it a 6.4 or a 5.7. There's so much other stuff that goes into doing a Hellcat supercharger that you could have just went with a brand new Magnuson kit and been about the same price. Maybe a little more, but then it's brand new and it's a kit. That's just my advice. The older ones get screwed. Yep. I have a 13, but I'm claiming it's a 14 and sending it. I try to tell them it's an 08 to get away with what I run. There you go. That's my play grab. The RPM setup with removable sidebars and call it done. Okay. I'll have to look into that, Jay. Remember, Jay, he's in Canada. So One Bad Plum is in Canada. He does a lot of his racing in Canada, not in the States. So their rules are different in Canada. Jay still limited to 10-0, I believe, shooting for 9s this year and over 140. Nice. Maggie versus Pro Charger, essentially. Yeah, I love the Pro Charger too, but so Tim and Rusty, y'all heard me say this 1,000 times. For a daily driver and going to the track every once in a while, go with a positive displacement. You're going to get way more fun out of a positive displacement supercharger like a Magnuson or a Whipple or a Hellcat supercharger than you are necessarily things like a Pro Charger or even turbos. Because Pro Chargers and turbos, they start to make their power higher up in the RPM range where, those positive displacement, it's right there in the lower RPM range where you are most of the time daily drive. Now that's simplistic view. I know Jay's going to beat me up about talking about turbos, but yeah, just gone simplistic view. I would just get a positive displacement if I had a daily driver. Nervous about the 2023 supercharger. I fell asleep. My finger must have hit the buy button. Oh, God. Chris, she's gone 10-3 at 139. Nice, buddy. Nice. Maggie is loud too. Like the sound of them. Correction for Dawn, 2015 and newer require unlocking. I'm sorry. I missed it by a year. 2015 and newer. Jay's going back to One Bad Plum. Oh, man. It's going on 392 low boost. Not going to beat on it all. All right. Yeah, like I said, just me personally, I probably would have just went with a Maggie and called it a day. Private rentals, no issues. That's same thing here. If it's a private rental, nobody cares. That's why you see all these other like drag times and some of these other folks, with all these other fast cars doing all kinds of crazy stuff because they rent the track and they don't have to worry about. They don't necessarily have to worry about the rolls. I didn't realize it was in Canada. Yep. Love the 2.9 Whipple. Yeah, I think the two. Is it the 2.9s? Might be the 2.7s are pretty solid. I think 2.9s and the 3.0s is where they started having problems with the internals, but I could be wrong. Do drop-ins with the 392 on boost, 100%. How's everyone feel about the 2650? I just said that's what you should do. I like the Magnuson. It sounds good for a daily driver that you're not gonna beat on. And yeah, old man, if you have a 392, you need to either stick at 6 pounds of boost or less, or get drop-ins if you're gonna go over 6 pounds. But yeah, the 2650 Magnuson is a pretty good supercharger. You just don't see a lot of the big guys in the Hemi game using it. I'm not really sure why. But yeah, there are some people that use them, but a lot of the big YouTubers and stuff like that are either Turbos, ProCharger, or Whipple. You don't see a lot of the YouTubers going with a Magnuson. 10.3 is cooking. Yes, sir. Mac just here so I wouldn't get fined. You came in just in time, Mac. You came in just in time. Well, while you're here, Mac, so I'm just waiting on Ford to get back with me. I sent him an email Monday. He hit me back up Monday afternoon, I think it was. Let me check here. So 5th. He hit me up on the 5th, which was Monday. He got back to me on Monday afternoon. He was supposed to get back with me yesterday. He didn't get back with me today either. So I'm going to hit him up tomorrow morning to see where they are with the triple pumps. And then we'll go from there. Why 2650 over 2300? Yeah, Jay got it. Oh man, yeah. Maggie 2300 will work forever, reliably, off the charts, but they don't make good power. Taps out in the low 600s. They get hot fast. My buddy Rams 8.5 with his 2650, they work. That or the Edelbrock 2650. Yeah, I forgot about Edelbrock. They make one as well. Yeah. I guess if you're going supercharger, you might as well go the 2650 and get the forged parts. Yep. If it's a daily driver, that's what I would do. Hard Rock B Mason is a wealth of automotive performance knowledge, but his channel is a bit boring now. All he does is sit in his shop and complain about Dodge. That is true, and he actually got rid of his cars that I know of. I know he got rid of his Hellcat. I know he's been doing he was doing some Ram content there for a while, and then he was doing some motorcycle content there for a while. So he's kind of bounced around, and yeah, I know he complains about Dodge, and he does a lot of Dodge performance stuff too. Actually, one smart guy for sure, 100%. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm still subscribed to his channel, but if it's not anything related to Dodge or something I'm interested in, I don't watch him anymore. I ran the Edelbrock 2300, 10 PSI, 600 for 5 years. Yep. Giving his channel a break for a while. Yep. Eric, Mac, hope you're putting the new lift to work. I'm sure he is. Old man was debating between the Whipple 3.0 and the Magnuson 2650 for a 61426 build. Nice. Lift is on his third job. Good job, Mac. Tomorrow I toss a twin turbo car on to do a trans brake. Nice. David, have you heard anything about the Hemi Fever trans tune, or is that a gimmick? So any tuner out there can do a trans tune for you as well. So whoever, my personal opinion, whoever you get to do your engine tune, you should get to do your transmission tune as well. So Hemi Fever, I haven't heard much about him lately, but I haven't heard of him blowing anything up, but there's always a possibility when you get your car tuned of it blowing up and not being the tuner's fault. But yeah, I would, when you get your car tuned with the Diablo, I would have them do the trans tune as well with the same tuner. But yeah, trans tunes aren't a gimmick. They're actually a thing, 100%. I'll clear some time to invest it. Clear some time so we can do Don's engine before too long. I know, I need to do that. All right, we're getting right up. Oh, we are at 10 o'clock. It's making me less angry to have. All right, back. I'm not worried about clearing time for an engine until my workload is handled. Don's engine ain't paying my bills. I said when Don's car is 100%, we'll plan it. Don's car ain't 100%. That's right. Once we got a 9.5 or faster out of Don's new setup, we'll call it 100% enough and dive in. Sound like a deal. Absolutely. All right, folks, it is 10 o'clock. So y'all know I like to cut these off at 10 o'clock. I appreciate everyone chiming in the chat, and y'all kept me going for another hour. You guys are doing good, keeping me up for an hour. But I definitely appreciate the support. Y'all have a great night, because it's pouring outside right now. But y'all have a great night. Until next week, adios.